Well, tell me about your company delivering happiness.
Yes.
When I heard the word delivering, I think, well, happiness is the good that you can deliver. Why did you call it delivering happiness?
Well, it actually evolved from the company Zappos. And as Zappos grew up, it was a tiny little startup before, back in the day in San Francisco. And it realized that it just didn't want to sell shoes for the rest of its life. That's not what their higher purpose is. So it evolved over time to become the best at customer service, and then treating the happy employees right, making the happy employees first, and everything else kind of falls into place, like higher profitability and better customer service, and eventually realizing what they're doing. Essentially, everyone they're touching, they're trying to deliver happiness to.
But they have to sell shoes anyway, but...
Yeah, they do. But one of the things that we learned from the science of happiness, one of the things to increase happiness levels is to give employees and people a sense of control in their decisions. So by them being able to say, you know what, I'm going to write this note and send the UPS guy, that makes them feel they're in control and happy with their work. But going back to your point, yes, they sell shoes, but that's not the whole point of what they do. As an example, customer service reps, they don't have any call times or scripts that they have to go by. The longest call time that was just broken this holiday season was 10 and a half hours with one customer. And I had no idea what they talked about or what the bathroom situation was and what they ate. But at the end of the sale, and then the call, there was a $49 sale of shoes. But to Zappos, it doesn't really matter, because now they probably have a lifelong customer, and now they have a story that, like the story that you read on the internet, keeps on going and living its own life.
But when that person calls every day for 10 and a half hours, then you have another problem.
Then that person might need help.
Yeah. No, but did you ever got in trouble with it? Because people could also say, well, I'm not going to work today. That's my choice of today, for example.
Sure. I mean, I think there's always a potential of someone abusing it. Like they give free drinks and free food. There's always potential. Like one time we found that person, and they also give free books. And we found that all of a sudden there's this eBay site selling all these books that Zappos happen to sell. And so chances are, of course, people are going to abuse it. Even like customers are bound to as well. There's customers that buy shoes and return them 365 days later, obviously been worn, but at a certain point you have to say no. And so we say we're a shoe sales company, we're not a shoe rental company, and those customers have to listen. And then for employees, it's shocking how by giving them freedom, most people are actually fundamentally good. And so it's not a good thing to let that 1% or 0.5% affect the rest of what we trust in people.
I agree. Zappos was sold to Amazon, $1.2 billion. I can imagine you were happy then. And so you're doing something good on that side as well.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, it has to make sense. A lot of people look at us and they say, delivering happiness, we're in a horrible economy, talk to me about something real. And it doesn't get more real than this for us, because at the fundamentals, of course, the business needs to be profitable. I mean, that otherwise it won't survive. But what the difference is, what you're saying is that if that's a given, then we should all remember that why we're here is actually to be happy and to make others happy around us. So why not layer what's most important on top? Knowing that profits will need to be there. So have it balanced and having it both ways instead of just driven by profits.
Because Zappos was bought by Amazon.com, do you think that Amazon also then in some sort of way bought the philosophy of Zappos?
No. Because they're very separate culture, and it's very good for them. Like they're very focused on customer service and technology, and Zappos is not, in that sense of they're more tech oriented, and Zappos is more like on the softer side. So there was actually an agreement signed beforehand not to combine cultures, because having one culture should be unique to that company, like it's their DNA, and it shouldn't be commingled.
All right, but delivering happiness is another company than Zappos. Mainly, basically the same philosophy, I think. But what is the goal of this company, delivering happiness?
So it's really interesting for us, because when Tony and I worked on this book, delivering happiness, we had no idea it evolved to a company. And the only reason why it has since is because when it came out, it really was shocking to me and unanticipated that people all over the world, we're up to actually 20 languages, were saying, how do I apply this to where I'm working? Or how do I apply this to my life? And what it meant to me was that I felt there was a tipping point in the world, that no matter what background you're from, what country you're born, or age, whether or not you're working, or whether or not you're religious, it didn't really matter. This whole topic of happiness transcended it all and flattened all the, the kind of conversations we have. So because of that, that's why we created this company, Delivering Happiness. And our goal is to spread and inspire happiness in companies, communities, and cities.
And that's what this company is about. But a company, you could also choose to be a movement or some sort of thing, but you choose to be a company, and the company has to make money in some sort of way. And how do you do that with it?
So there's a couple ways right now. Part of it is Delivering Happiness at Work. It's essentially a consulting company, and we go around and helping other organizations figure out, like, how do you actually make your employees happy? And the key is being able to sustain it and scale it over time, because all the research goes back to show that the happier their employees are, the more productive they are, the more creative they are, the more they sell. And it's just, the data is reinforcing itself as might as well make them happy, because if it makes sense for business, then it's a win-win situation. So that's one side of it. On the other side, we launched an apparel line on Zappos, funny enough. And so basically all the net proceeds of that go back into fueling what we call the movement. And the movement is about people. The movement is like events like this. And this is actually our first event out of the US, so it's pretty exciting for me to be here. A little surreal, actually, to see where it's come. So thank you for Wendy for doing all of that. But yeah, so that's how we're going to support ourselves and be able to grow the movement.